Welcome to part 2 in a gut health mini-series. In the first episode, I outlined how the gut can link to a number of chronic health issues that you or someone you know might be experiencing. Now I want to try and offer you some practical steps in ways to get to the source of the problem. I should disclose that I'm not a health practitioner, so please go and see a specialist if you have health issues. Okay, so first off, my health practitioner taught me a framework which I think is just too good not to share, which she calls negative gain, positive gain. Think of a sliding scale between -10 and +10. When our health is bad, closer to the -10, we obviously need some help. And negative gain work is to get us back to some stability, and this often means removing or eliminating bad stuff from our body or environment. Positive gain involves introducing good stuff to get us towards our thriving best self. Now in this video, I'm focusing on the main factors around negative gain work. The first factor is problem foods. One thing I've learned over my deep dive into gut health is that there is no such thing as one diet fits all. For example, these foods on the right are ones that I grew up learning to be healthy. And you know what? They are all dense in nutrients, so it's a natural conclusion. But what I'm putting forward, which I know sounds uncomfortable, even ridiculous, is that in some cases our body can reject foods that are nutritious. We're all familiar with allergies because they're usually quick reactions like a rash or swelling around the mouth area. They can also be tested using methods like an allergy skin test, but intolerances and sensitivities are more stealthy. They can be a lot harder to pick up unless you're willing to experiment a bit with diet. A food intolerance affects digestion, where your body can't actually break down the food properly. This can result in nasty bloating, diarrhea, constipation, all that jazz. And food sensitivities are probably the trickiest because the effects may not be felt until a day or so afterwards. And their effects can be quite far-ranging, from nausea, migraines, skin and joint problems, and more. So what's the deal with wheat, dairy and soy? You would have seen these staple foods appeared on that list a few times. Are they unhealthy foods? No, that's not what I'm saying. They can be great for some people, but they do seem to be high risk for others. Sometimes ancestry comes into play. For example, people of East and Central Asian descent have high rates of lactose intolerance, where this is estimated to affect more than 2/3 of the population. I'm a bit of an unfortunate soul where several foods affect me. I've found through trial and error that gluten causes pain and inflammation in my joints a day after eating. Dairy causes me to experience indigestion and nasal congestion if I consume it regularly, and soy causes me terrible bloating. I'm not trying to be self-deprecating, I just want to highlight what's possible. Now, FODmap is an excellent resource if you don't know about it. It's a list of foods put together by Monash University that have been identified as high or low risk for the gut-struggling community. The issue is that people introduced to FODmap will look at the list and they cut everything out at the same time. The list is just a guide which you need to experiment with. An example of such would be to eliminate a single food type over a 3-week period, then reintroduce the same food to observe the effects. It's like treating your body as a science experiment. I should also mention food quality. Modern food processing strips away much of the nutritional value we'd expect through additives and preservatives, and they can sadly be another issue for the gut. My suggested exercise for you is, if you don't already, next time when shopping for food, have a little look at the ingredients on the food packaging. Items like thickening agents, vegetable gums, lactic acid, and acidity regulators, they're all items to be a bit cautious of, and they're in lots of things. I've personally found it to have a big positive impact on my gut by staying clear of such ingredients. The third factor to address is infections. They're really common, and I'm not talking about the COVID variants. But most health practitioners would or should actually start here as a focal point. Sometimes these infections can find a nice little home in the gut for weeks, months, even years, and we may not even be aware of it until testing for it. Some of them are known to trigger autoimmune conditions. they can be really difficult for the body to clear naturally and often require a specific treatment. A final factor I want to introduce is chemicals. On a day-to-day basis, we're exposed to all kinds, be it aerosols, washing detergents, cleaning sprays, which we either inhale or absorb through our skin. I'm not trying to suggest that we need to live in some bubble. Many of these chemicals have a purpose, but certain ones can also exacerbate health issues like asthma or skin problems. For example, depending on your location, your tap water can contain a bit of chlorine and fluoride. As an experiment, I recently installed a water filter on my shower and another to my kitchen sink for drinking water. They didn't really cost much. I noticed that after a few weeks, my skin and hair was a lot less dry, and now this makes winters more bearable. And this is the dreaded season for anyone with dermatitis. So this covers off some of the main problematic factors that can contribute to gut and chronic health conditions. In the next video, I'll look at some of the positive gain work that's involved to get to a real thriving state of well-being. See you soon.